On this episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
Parents are way more stressed than the kids are. And I think when it boiled down to it, I did have to kind of take a step back where, I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted, everything on the checklist to be there. I wanted every item we brought to fit. I wanted everything to match. And I think what I realized is the kids were so excited just to be in their dorm and, hey, let's go meet our new, dorm mates, and just excited to be there, to be on their own, just at that moment in their life.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addix, the original sorority rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush. Happy anniversary, Mad Rush. When I started this podcast a year ago, I had no idea what I was getting into. But here I am 1 year and 55 episodes later, and I'm honestly blown away. To my listeners, you amazing humans who press play every week, who leave reviews, who make me tear up in the grocery store, who share episodes with friends and argue with me on the comments, thank you. You've turned what started as me talking into a microphone into something so much bigger. To my incredible producer, Collier Landry, the wizard who takes my rambling and somehow makes it sound like I know what I'm doing. You've saved me from myself more times than I can count, and you've made this whole thing possible. To my friends and family who've listened and who've graciously appeared as guests when I was desperate for content, I love you. Thank you for supporting this dream and for not rolling your eyes too hard when I talk about my brand. This year has been wild, unexpected, and so fun. So here's to year 2 and to all of you who make this journey so incredible. I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful. So y'all know that I love a good connection, and I think that connections are the reason the world works. And today's guest is an Instagram connection I made when I discovered her amazing company, and I can't wait for you guys to hear all about it. This is so timely. Welcome, Amy Adams, owner of DFW Dorms.
Thank you, Trisha. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to tell everyone about DFW Dorms. We just opened a few months ago, so I'm excited to get the name out there and just tell everyone about it.
So wait, I think you recognized a need. Your daughter went off to college and you decided to meet this need. So tell us about your daughter starting the company.
Yeah, so actually I went to school at Texas Tech, graduated back in 2000, many, many years ago, and got my MBA in healthcare administration. So for 20 years, I spent in the medical field and loved what I did. I worked for an outpatient imaging company and kind of got in when the company first opened, and worked for many years and worked my way up, and eventually was president of the company for 8 years. So
oh, wow.
So I got a lot of my just entrepreneurial spirit.
You say that much better than me. I always, people ask me what I do, and I'm like, I don't remember, because I can't ever say that word. So you did well.
Just that and some of the strategy talks and, starting a business. We opened 35 clinics over the course of those 25 years. So I think it gave me a good foundation kind of just for that aspect. And then right before COVID hit, we were purchased by an equity group, and I lasted about 2 years with that transaction, and then decided it was time. The company had just changed so much and was different from kind of when we first started it. And so I decided to part ways, and it ironically ended up being about 6 months before COVID hit. So it was good timing on my part because the world kind of shut down. And so I kind of sat back and, decided, tried to think about what I wanted to do next. And my first inkling was to get back into the medical field, but I knew I just kind of wanted something different and wanted to do something that gave back to the community. So I started my first online business about 3 years ago, and its name is Charity Box. You see it sometimes mentioned in some of my posts. We share some of the digital work and stuff that I created initially on that with that company. It's just an online gifting company, and every quarter we give back to charity, and we pick a different charity every quarter. So it's
Oh,
been really
that's
fun for
cool.
me. Yeah, so it's been kind of something fun for me, and we're kind of shifting a little more into the corporate gifting, and it wasn't taking up a ton of my time because it's kind of more in bulk orders. And really, fast forward kind of to 2024. Yes, like you said, we were moving my daughter into college, and I was doing all the normal things that all the parents do, looking on Instagram. She was pinning stuff. We had all of our ideas, and some of the big items that she was pinning were the furniture items that she had seen. And she was going to Arkansas, so we're here in Dallas, and I looked and looked, and a couple places that I saw that were making them, no one shipped or delivered to the Dallas area, to Arkansas area. It just was non-existent. And so my husband kind of got in the middle of the conversation, and he was like, I'll just build it. So he had built her as a hobby, her baby furniture. He kind of has always just had a knack for woodworking, her baby furniture, her toddler furniture, same thing for my son. And then he kind of stopped, and he did things on the side always. And so he built her the Kayla bedside shelf, which is now on our, that's what we call it on our, my daughter's name is Kayla. So
I
we
was
named
about
it
to
after
say,
her.
there you go.
Yes. Named it after her. And we built that for her and went to college and moved in. And, it still hadn't crossed our mind. The idea of the company hadn't really crossed our mind. And,
Oh,
but
wait. So
as,
you didn't, okay, go ahead.
yeah. No, so we hadn't even thought of the company. We had just been doing our own thing. And behind the scenes, I had created the packing list, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and just stuff that was helping me and her throughout the process. And we moved in and had the bedside shelf. And just, as we're bringing it in, it's a pretty big, substantial piece of furniture. And so many people were like, what's that? What's that? And then, just parents along the way, where did you get that? Those kind of questions. And still didn't think a whole lot of it. And then it was really when we came back, and, everyone posts pictures of your room. Well, my daughter posted pictures. I posted pictures, talking about leaving her at college for the first time and whatnot. And then the comments just started coming about, where did you get your shelf? Can we get one made or whatever? And I'm like, no, sorry. It's just my husband that's doing it. And still we're kind of like, but then they kept coming. And then I'm like, okay, there might be something here. I'm like, there's a bunch of people. So then I started doing the research. I'm like, there's got to be people in this area that are making them that I'm just not aware of. And there wasn't. Like, there really was no one in DFW, even further than DFW. There wasn't anyone making custom dorm furniture. And the reason it's kind of specific to dorms is because it has to be tiny. It has to be certain dimensions, certain height. So you can't just go, some people on groups will say, well, buy a king size headboard and turn it sideways. Well, it doesn't work that way, because then you have to, it's not the height. It's just not it could work. I'm not going to say it wouldn't work, but it's not the perfect if you're wanting something to be the perfect fit. So yeah, so I just started, the idea kind of came to me, and we did the research, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I figured it was somewhat of a seasonal business, which I'm learning it really is from, I would say I had figured March to August, and really, I think we started getting busy more so end of May, June, but it is seasonal. So I'm like, I can squeeze this in with my other business. Let's give it a shot. So anyhow, that's how it was formed. And I spent so she graduated. She went to school in August. Got the idea probably around October, where we started to form the company. And I spent 6 months just nonstop working on the website, and built the website and loaded all the products.
You built the website?
Yes, I used Wix I will give them a little credit here. It's a platform where it's like Shopify, but a lot more customizable, I guess you could say. So you don't have to be a programmer. I'm not a programmer at all. But yes, I had built my one for Charity Box, so I had a little bit of background. So this one was a little bit easier for me, but it took some time. I spent about 6 months building the website, loading the products and everything.
Well, I want to talk about me for 1 second.
Sure.
No, just kidding. So is it just for e-commerce, or is it,
No, you can, I book my design appointments through it. People do hotels. There's all sorts of different.
It's called Wix?
Wix, Wix. Yes.
Okay.
It's very cost effective. Yeah. So it's great.
Continue.
But I did that. And then at some point, you could keep loading products forever. Like, I kept finding, oh, this is great. This is great. And finally I'm like, okay, I got to stop. We got to launch. And I knew, we wanted to do it before dorm season hit. And we were right around that February timeframe. And I'm like, why not St. Patrick's Day? That's a lucky day. So we launched on St. Patrick's Day back in March.
This year.
Yes.
March 2025. You heard it here.
Yes. Yes. So we've just been open a few months, but
Is
it's
your
been going great.
husband making the furniture?
Yeah, so right now he is the sole man. He's getting some help starting this week because orders kind of went crazy this week with TCU getting their assignments and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, he's a perfectionist, so he had to outsource it. But I think we're going through the growing pains right now, trying to figure out can we just outsource someone maybe cutting it and he puts it together and whatnot. But as of right now, he's been doing all of it. So.
I
Yes.
predict that's not going to be happening for very much longer. I mean, y'all, this stuff is really special. And so,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I reached out to her. I was like, this is amazing. And so many of you guys out there are going to want this. So will you ship anywhere?
So that's the only issue. So right now we've partnered with a delivery company for the Dallas Fort Worth. They reach out to Oklahoma, and since my daughter's in Arkansas, we're kind of volunteering to try to help with some of those deliveries or at least coordinate. But outside of that, we're not able to ship any of the custom furniture.
Gotcha.
We can quote because some people are willing to pay. We've done a couple of quotes for someone that wanted to send it to Tennessee, and it is expensive to because it gets on a moving truck. They can't just put these things, FedEx or UPS. So we are a little bit limited there. That'll be something I'll probably focus on next year, trying to expand the reach or just trying to see how we can, cover more pieces. Cause I have, had to tell some people no, or the fee's too high.
Right.
But all of our other items ship nationwide. So our mini fridges ship nationwide, the cabinets, and then all of our other bedding and accessories, we can ship those nationwide.
So. Okay, so talk to me about, there's so many questions I have. So talk to me about the bedding. Do you make it, or is it,
No.
do you just find it?
So we have a few options. I partnered with, she was actually a high school friend of mine and a very well-known, her Instagram's amazing, Emily Hewitt, but her company's A Well-Dressed Home. So she designs beautiful homes. She's an interior designer. So in the primarily Dallas area, but she actually works all over. So we partnered with her to create a designer bedding collection just because we wanted it to be different. I mean, there's only a few dorm companies out there, and most of them are the traditional white headboards, with the piping around and just kind of more simple. And I wanted to do something just to set us apart. So we have that as one line. That's called our designer bedding line. It's a little more pricey than what your traditional dorm stuff would be, but it's definitely worth the quality. And then I have other bedding that is available for purchase just on the website. So that's the second option. That's just kind of in stock bedding, not custom made. And then I have my design appointment. So I only do this by design. If you're a design client, then I have hundreds of other fabric samples all around. So you can come in and say that I don't have on my website that you can see. So they can create custom bedding from any fabric that I have. So a few different options.
So you thought you were going to be busy. This is very much my life. So you thought you were going to be busier in March, but you're now seeing that people are doing it now, like May and June.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a rush for graduation gifts. We also I wanted to kind of be not a one-stop shop for everything, but, to our, industry, just kind of have some products. So we had a lot of graduation gifts. That was kind of a little bit of a rush in, that April, May timeframe. And then it kind of died down a little bit. And then I kind of got nervous, but then I realized everyone's in the middle of graduation. So I think there was a lull where people were just doing their graduation parties, this, that, and the other, and hadn't focused on their dorm yet. And then June started to pick up. And then I don't know what it was this past week. I think people are now finally like, okay, we got to get going, because some of the items do have, right now, we're like 4-week lead time on some of the custom furniture and things like that. So people are starting to realize, and I'm trying to make it more apparent, like if you want the custom stuff, you got to start ordering now and not wait till last minute.
And so this will probably air, I'm looking at my calendar right now, so this will be June 19th. So what's your cutoff for an August move-in? It will probably be the beginning of July, right?
I'm learning most of depending on if the girls are going through rush, the rush girls move in a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. So they're usually early August. So those, yes, we would need their order, early July. I have some of my SMU girls that don't have rush until fall. Until spring. And so they're not moving.
They changed it.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm. It's fall now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So maybe the girls I'm working with just aren't going through rush. I'm not sure, but their move-in date, a couple of them have been August 20th. So a little bit later.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's basically 4 weeks. If it's a custom furniture item, 4 weeks prior to your move-in date, if you want it right when you move in.
Gotcha. Oh, I guess that I didn't even think
Yes.
about that. You could,
Which some people might be,
yeah,
if they really want it, they're like, okay, it'll be a week later. That's okay.
yeah,
But
that seems pretty reasonable for sure. So,
yes,
did your daughter go through Rush at Arkansas?
she did. She's a Pi Phi.
Awesome.
She loves it. Yeah, there and Rush down there is just amazing. I'd never seen anything like it. So I went to Texas Tech, like I said, and it's just smaller. It was amazing too, fun, but it's off campus, so it's a little different feel. But just the Arkansas campus alone, the houses, they're all on one street. The vibe is crazy, and they take them to this big Greek theater. I mean, outdoor theater. They call it the Greek theater, but it's just outdoor. And everybody opens their letters all at once and then they all run home, and it was just like thousands and I think 5,000 girls go through rush out in Arkansas. Her pledge class was 175, so just ton of kids, but so much fun and excitement.
So, were you there?
I went for bid day and got to see her do all of that, and
Just,
ironically she ended up her three roommates pledged all together, so
oh, wow, that's cool.
yeah, it
So,
was
did
good.
your
Yeah.
husband and son go as well?
They did. They did. And I mean, they had fun with it too, initially. And then once we got to the house and it was just chaos, back and forth, thousands of people every which way, they kind of stepped aside and they're like, we'll be over here.
How old is your son?
But he'll be a senior this year. So I'm excited to finally, he's a junior in high school last year. He'll be senior this upcoming year. So now I get to do his room. He's already told me, nothing as crazy as, what we did for my daughter, but he's been a good sport. So I'm like, I
That's
gotta put some of my new stuff, gotta get it out there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And y'all, what she's describing, Arkansas, I'll get calls and people are like, "Do I need help for Arkansas?" I'm like, "Yes, you should." It's a thing, rush.
Yeah.
And the bid day is nuts. And that's I could have guessed that your husband and son went to, because this is a family thing. And I get a lot of people will ask me, and they're like, "Should I go for bid day?" And I'm like, if it's a school where some people go, it is so cool to see.
Yeah. It was a great
And
experience.
conversely, which lucky it didn't happen to your daughter, but it's also, if something happens and you don't have a successful rush, you need to get out of town, because
Town, yes.
that the whole is so electric, and it's
I
so
know.
the whole campus.
From what I heard, they did a good job this past year of finding everyone a home for the most part. There
Yeah,
were,
they
I think,
did.
they gave me some number. I mean, we saw some numbers published that most of the girls did find a home, which was nice to see. Because
Yeah.
I know in a couple years back, I think they just had a huge, group, and they did have to, turn some people away. But this year, they were able to get almost everybody, so
Yeah,
it's good.
they did a good job.
Yeah.
Ole Miss did a great job with that too. Just finding, recognizing that they're going to have bigger pledge classes because there's so many people going through. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes. But yeah, so she's
175.
enjoying it. She's
That's
had a fun time with it. Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I saw on your Instagram that resonated with me, were like some of the lists. Do you have any like
Yes.
essentials or
So
anything?
the packing list is probably is my number one seller, in all honesty, and that's the list I created just for my daughter. And again, since I was in the corporate world, I had a lot of experience with Excel, and it was just second nature to me to create that for us and help us during the packing process. And when I got through with it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Someone else might could use this. And so I listed it. I have a little Etsy store through the Charity Box company, and I listed it on there. And I think last year I sold 400 copies of the packing list through that. And then this year I've sold 200 through Etsy, and then another probably 100, through DFW Dorms. So it's been a very popular item. It's like $5.99, very
I was about
inexpensive.
to ask
But
how much it costs. Yeah.
yeah, $4.99, $5.99. But it is an interactive spreadsheet, so it's not just a list. You mark if you've ordered the product, if you ordered it, it's arrived, it's packed, it's shipped or whatever. So it has like status tracking.
Oh,
It's a list
wow.
of like 225 items. And it breaks it down into categories. So it's a very helpful spreadsheet, especially for the parents that don't know where to start. So I've kind of guided a lot of people. If you're just really overwhelmed, where do I start? Start knocking off some of the packing lists that are just little Amazon easy stuff to, start checking off the list, and you feel better like you're making progress. So
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, so that's been popular. The other digital, our Rush actually, the Rush template kind of went over decently, and then I have a college application spreadsheet as
Wait, what was
well.
your rush template?
So the Rush one, I just did again, it was something I did for my daughter, just her cover letter resume template, where it's already done and they just have to get in there, swap out the name, put in their stuff, but it's a template. So I think a lot of people that sneaks up on you because you're in the middle of graduation parties and whatnot. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have to supposed to have a resume. I'm supposed to, some of those things. So
Do you
I had
sell
a little
that?
bit of Rush.
Do you sell that?
Uh-huh.
That's
That's on we have a digital on our website. There's a digital page. So we've got about 10 products that are digital products that just can be downloaded right away.
I should have done my research more. All I did was, go on your Instagram. I was like, I gotta share this with my listeners because I mean, y'all, her stuff is really, really gorgeous and well curated. And I didn't know about the digital stuff, so that's on me. But that's very nice. And I know because I send out Rush resume templates all day, every day, that that's really a great thing to have because
Yeah.
it is different than your getting into college resume or your work resume or anything else.
Yes. Yes.
So what are your top 5 things that you feel every dorm room needs?
So the first thing I mean, it's just little, it's not, vital, but it was another post that kind of went, it's funny to me, the posts that take off and whatnot, but one of my posts that did really well too was we have a bedding bundle, and it's instead of buying it individually, I think it just made people again think, and you are getting a deal, I have a discount on it, but people don't always think about, I didn't even know, I'm like, what's a mattress encasement like initially, but so I have a little cute diagram that says how to make a dorm bed, which I think has been in other places.
I needed that. Jeez.
Yeah. So it is, some people, it is a little confusing because the dorm mattresses are typically, they've been used a million times for years and years and years. The colleges don't typically recycle those. And I don't know how often, maybe every 10 years. I don't know, but they're gross. So the encasement is a piece of it. Then you have your mattress topper, which again, because the mattresses are not even typically usually real mattresses, you add the topper on top and then you have the mattress protector. So that's been, I think, a must have just because the beds, you want to be comfortable, you want a good night's sleep. So that's one product I recommend. And then I think, honestly, just space saving furniture items. So we stress all the time, like parents, what do we do with the school provided furniture? And because you're not allowed to take that out of the room. Some people try to sneak it, whatever, but you can get fined. And if your RA comes in and notices something missing, so it's not
Like
worth
what?
it. So
What can't you take out?
no, you can't take anything out. So if you have a dresser, if you have a chair, if you have any of the dorm provided furniture when you move in, so you see these before and after videos of some of this ugly brown furniture that not, I mean, some people might like it, boys like it, but the girls want the pretty white stuff. So what we've kind of encouraged from a financial standpoint is you're going to spend money on the under the bed storage anyhow. So kind of our tip is instead of spending money on the underbed storage that nobody sees, we tell everybody to shove all the dorm furniture under the bed because it's all standard height. It'll all fit. The desk will fit, the drawers will fit. And we're not saying to shove it under there and leave it. We repurpose. That's what my daughter used for her. Instead of buying the 3-drawer, for all of her clothes, she used the dorm provided one. For the desk, she had her utensils in there. For the other cabinet, she used all that space. And then you still have a whole 20 inches behind that. So our tip is spend the money on the other furniture that you do see, and you're going to spend it anyways, one way or the other. So
wait, do you have like a bed skirt that covers?
Yes, the bed skirt covers it.
Okay.
And then otherwise, people are like, how do we cover the ugly brown desk? And people buy the desk skirts and people put the glass over it. And I've had a couple parents ask me if I sell that. And I say, no, I don't sell that because by the time you cut, glass and do the desk skirt, you've spent, because it's a custom piece, you've spent at least $100 on that. You might as well have bought one of our Amazon desks. We have a whole Amazon storefront too, and it's a $120 desk, but it's white and it's pretty, and now it goes with the pretty desk hutch that you bought from us. So it just kind of brings the room together. So our most popular furniture has been the desk hutches and the bedside shelf. So that item's been popular. Lighting, we recommend the dorm rooms. Most of them have horrible lighting. So you have to bring lamps, or a lot of the girls like the vanity mirrors that just kind of light up the room. So lighting is important. The other item would just be anything that saves storage. So our space saving hangers, an ottoman that you can open up and put blankets in, just anything for additional storage is big. So we try to
Yeah, these
find
rooms are
items that will
small.
work for that. Yes, and we recognize that we're not a one-stop shop like I mentioned earlier. So we do have an Amazon storefront that I have referred people to. It's oftentimes one of our most successful Instagram posts because everybody likes a good deal, and Amazon is known for their good deals. So we have items there that are more budget friendly, where if someone wants, you can have a nice dorm room and not spend a ton. We focus on the core piece. That's your jumping off piece. What do you really want? You want the bedside shelf and you want the mini fridge cabinet, and maybe you want these certain pillows that are kind of pricey. So, okay, that's your big items. Now let's try to finish the room with some more budget friendly items, and we'll try to work off of our Amazon storefront, to find people some more budget friendly items.
That's a really good point. You don't, I would love for you to talk about, well, you just did, but you don't have to spend a ton, and especially if you're creative and can take her. So one of the things that I think about a lot in my life is doing things right the first time. So I feel like you help people do that, not waste money, because I'm also very impulsive with my choices. So I'll decide I want all new, I don't know, bedding, and then I'll buy it and it'll be the wrong size, or it won't, whatever it is.
Yes.
And so having you, like, the measurements of the dorms, and that's also a big thing. Is sometimes people don't know where they're going to live, and then when they find out, you probably know the measurements, right?
Yes, I've got all the floor plans for all of the dorms that are around this area, the DFW area, Oklahoma, Texas. And then if somebody else from out of state, like I've got one I'm working on for Vanderbilt or something, then I just either ask the parent to pull it, or I try to get on the housing website. Most of them are accessible to the public. So that has been big because, a lot of the moms have been stressing over the measurements. And it is, you don't want to buy, like this one mom wanted the mini fridge cabinet, and she wanted the bedside shelf, and she wanted the desk hutch. And I looked at the floor plan. I said, you can buy it all, great. And I just said, it's going to be so crowded. Like her room just did not have the room for it. Some of them do. But yes, the space planning has been a big component. I think that a lot of parents, just need help with, because it's you don't want to buy something and then get there and it doesn't fit.
Right. No,
So especially if it was one of your items you were excited about.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I cannot wait to see, for y'all to see some of these pictures of these rooms. They're just gorgeous. I mean, so do you have any trends that you're seeing as far as that? Like you said something about white headboards with piping, but do you see any? I think that from my perspective, and I know I'm wrong on this, which I'm never wrong, so that's a shock. But from my perspective, I feel like everything is just getting very hyper, like seems very elevated in a way that,
Yes.
and so are there any things that you see coming down the pike, or a trend that you see that maybe is elevated, or just something that somebody could maybe, I don't know, do on a different budget? I don't really know what I'm asking. I'm trying.
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as trends go, I mean, it's been funny to me that with my design clients, I thought it would be kind of every girl wanting a similar type room. And they've really been all across the board. I just did one the other day that was like a light pink pillow, which I kind of thought was similar, but then they wanted like a leopard print accent. And then I've got a lot that want the bold color, some that want the neutral. I would say definitely the trend, more the coastal chic kind of look, is what I'm getting more of. Pinks, the blues, the whites, things like that, just a more elegant look. But I haven't, like, not enough to where I'm like, that's the new trend. I've
Right.
kind of seen a little bit of everything, which has been fun. It keeps it at least a little more exciting for me. But yeah, I think the biggest trend is just trying to find the storage furniture, because again, there's just not a lot of places that offer it. You can buy the ones that you put together, but a lot of people don't want to mess
Oh
with that, and it could
Lord.
fall apart. I know.
I ordered the desk that I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now. I ordered it and it came and it was in like, oh, I don't know how many pieces, and I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble. So I had to hire someone to put it together. So let's talk a little bit about what happens at the end of the year. My experience is, they do the same thing in sorority houses, and my friend Liz Toombs decorates those. But I see a lot of, I'm not being critical, but a lot of waste
Yeah.
at the end of the year. So do people resell this stuff, or do they just?
So yes, there's a big. I mean, every university that I've seen, there is usually a resale page where a lot of girls will post, starting usually kind of March, April timeframe. The college kids themselves will post their items and try to sell some stuff. The hard part just gets it's more location. Like not everybody. Like, we live in Dallas and we're going to Arkansas and they want it picked up in Arkansas. So sometimes it's a timing issue that I think doesn't work for some of that stuff.
And also,
And then
like
the
I said earlier, like we said, people don't know where they're going sometimes, and they don't know what
Right.
what their dorm room is going to look like.
Yeah, they're not ready to commit. I know Arkansas did a big, like they had, instead of throwing it away, they had a place. They were like, donated items go here. And we saw a whole moving truck come and they take it to a charity and all that stuff gets donated. So I wouldn't say it's wasted, but yes, there's a whole bit of that. I think with Charity Box, I've been introduced to a lot of different charities. The one we're actually working with right now, just because of the time it worked, is called the Vogue Room, and that foundation helps college kids in underprivileged areas. They do dorm rooms complimentary for those kids.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so I think something we'll do, because I'm sure we may have people saying, "Do you want this back? Do you want this bedside shelf back? We don't need it anymore." We may next year, depending on just as an idea, we may have a kind of a resale section where it's priced lower, but it's been used, so used furniture, or we may try to work with the foundation and try to just donate something like that. So
That's a great idea. I love that.
there's a few companies out there that do stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that makes me very happy because I mean it is something to see. It is so cool, and I love the excess. I do. I'm all about a brand. I'm not saying you guys should be, but I do. It does. It kind of. I'm like, oh, so I'm glad to know that there are companies out there that do that. Okay, so
Yes.
y'all are going to want her stuff, and I will tell you how to find her in a minute, but. Did you do your homework, Amy?
I did. I think you're going to ask me
I
about. I
love
know.
it when someone does their homework. Okay. So Bama Rush Talk popularized the hashtag OOTD outfit of the day. For Mad Rush, I'm repurposing this. And if you've listened, you know this. And thank you for listening. I'm repurposing hashtag OOTD into observation of the day. What is your hashtag observation of the day?
So my observation of the day, and I will lump myself into this bucket when I was in that position last year, but for move-in day, my observation is that parents are way more stressed than the kids are. And I think when it boiled down to it, I did have to kind of take a step back where, I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted, everything on the checklist to be there. I wanted every item we brought to fit. I wanted everything to match. And I think what I realized is the kids were so excited just to be in their dorm and, hey, let's go meet our new, dorm mates, and
Yeah.
just excited to be there, to be on their own, just at that moment in their life. So I think, my observation is that parents are more stressed. And if you take a step back and realize you don't want to ruin that day with getting upset and having a meltdown for move in. And the kids, in all honesty, most of the time, the kids could not care less, but they don't notice the things that aren't matching, or it just isn't as important to them. So I think what I kind of tell parents is it's not going to go perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, but your kid just wants you there They want you to be a part of it and to try to keep the mood light and just enjoy it because it is a neat milestone, and just to be there for your kids. So,
oh, that makes me cry. That I'm a little teared up. It is. It's all of this stuff is so.
Yeah, it just builds up. It builds up.
Yeah. So all of this time in this transition, it's so special, and it's such a.
It is.
It's this moment in time that as a family or, whatever, it's a very cool, that's a great observation. I love that. And
Yeah.
I also experienced the stress from the parents is always worse than the stress of the girls.
Yes.
So recognize it is just that, a moment in time.
I'm sure with Rush you deal with, I was going to say a lot of the same. Yeah.
I do love it, but that's a hard part in trying to help the parents understand that it's going to be okay. And if it's not okay, we'll figure it out. So anyway.
Very true.
All right. So tell people where they can find you and where your website.
Okay.
And y'all. So another thing, I'm digressing here, but another thing I always talk about is you do not want to reinvent a wheel. And this packing list sounds like you do not want to try to do this. So get hers. So it's something.
Thank you.
It just seems like something that why would you try to do that? Just go get yours.
It's an easy get you started, and like I said, it makes you feel like you're making progress, and it's a pretty elaborate list that covers most everything you could need, and I kind of added to it as we went along, so it's very good. But
is there something called a Uzu fan or some kind of fan?
Wuzu fan, yes. I should have said that. That is always one, and we didn't know what it was either before college, but it is probably one of the number one items that college kids. I saw some parent just gifted it to like 20 people for graduation gifts. It was a great boy gift idea. But yeah, they're just these fans that they oscillate like 360 degrees. So they're up and over, they're quiet, but it puts off a lot of air because dorm rooms usually have you locked down on, you can't adjust the AC a lot of the times.
Right.
So it's either hot or cold and you just kind of deal with it. So I think every one of her roommates had a Wuzu fan. That item's linked in our top 10 list too. So you can find the Wuzu fan there.
And it's quiet. So Collier, my producer, maybe I should get a Wuzu fan for my podcast. Yeah. So y'all, when we started to record, Collier, my fabulous producer, was like, you got to turn down your fan. And this room is very hot where I record this. So, okay. Where can they find you?
So the easiest place to find us is Instagram, probably to start with. And it's just our handles at DFW Dorms. So DFW Dorms, easy to find us. And from there, you can find links to our website, which is www.dfwdorms.com, links to our Amazon storefront. We also have a Facebook page, which I thought was going to be kind of a bigger engagement, but really our Instagram has kind of been a little bit more engagement there. But if you don't have Instagram, Facebook, we're there as well, DFW Dorms and Beyond. And then we have TikTok, which I'm learning. I'm learning to get on there. I'm not as versed with it, but it's a whole nother animal. Maybe I'll save that for next year. But we do post on there. It's at dfw.dorms is the only difference. There's a dot in the middle. But it's a lot of the same stuff that we post on Instagram, just trying to reach a different market that, a lot of the college kids may use TikTok more. So we're on there as well.
I know. That's another thing. Yes. Speaking of Collier, he's needing me to get TikTok, and I'm kicking and screaming about that. So, well, thank you very much for being here. I think that
thanks for having me.
Your stuff is really amazing and unique, and y'all, that is why I wanted her on here. It's every time I go to her Instagram, I'm like, wow, I wish I'd had this, and she has great advice.
It's been a lot of fun.
All the things. So so y'all check it out. It'll be in the show notes, and I look forward to watching your company grow. And
thank you.
I can't believe you've only been open a couple months. Wow. Who knew?
I know it's gone by fast, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome to Time Out with Trisha. Because can you really give advice if you don't speak about yourself in the third person? I don't think so. This is exactly how I speak to my clients. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about your support network that you're going to have during Sorority Rush and how you should build it now. So Rush can feel like an emotional roller coaster. One day you're on top of the world, the next you're questioning everything about yourself. While your fellow PNMs are incredible, they're experiencing the same highs and lows you are. That's why building a support network outside of these people is absolutely essential. So start with your family and close friends from home. These are the people who knew you before you stepped foot on campus, who see your worth beyond any organization. If they are not going through Rush, text them your fears, call them with your excitement, and let them remind you of who you are when the process feels overwhelming. Get these people on speed dial and tell them how you are really doing. Just don't do it with an earshot of anyone in the dorm. In the dorm, you are Switzerland. Remember, this process is just one chapter of your college story. Your support network reminds you that you're valued and loved regardless of any outcome. Lean on them, because the best part of college isn't just the organizations you join, it's the genuine connections you make along the way. So remember that. And that's it for Time Out with Trisha. We'll see you on another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Adams.